North Carolina Supreme Court last week heard arguments in the Kirby case, which was a case that had been decided by the North Carolina Court of Appeals that determined that the MAP Act and maps recorded pursuant to the MAP Act constituted an unconstitutional taking of property affected by the recordation of those maps. Now, arguments were held last week. You can't necessarily get a flavor of what an appellate court may do simply on the basis of the questions that were asked, but in looking at the video of the arguments and the questions that were asked, the justices appear to be as dubious about the state's stated reasons for this as the unanimous panel of the Court of Appeals. This is February the 23rd of 2016. I would hope that by end of March, there'll be an opinion from the Supreme Court. Now, if the Supreme Court says the MAP Act is not unconstitutional, doesn't constitute a taking of anybody's property, then as it pertains to property owners affected by the Hampstead Bypass, that map will be there. No one is likely going to be required to pay anybody for their property until such time as the legislature appropriates money. Now, in what I believe to be the likely event that the Supreme Court states what the Court of Appeals states, and therefore for every property owner whose property has been impacted by the recordation of that map, there's been a taking, the state's going to have to make a decision because they do not have the money to fund the construction of the Hampstead Bypass, and there doesn't appear to be any political will to fund it, not in the near future. So my prediction, you can take my prediction and $4 and get a Starbucks with it, but the Hampstead Bypass project will be abandoned because the state cannot write a check to every property owner affected by that map. They can't because they don't have money. Now, that doesn't mean that anyone who's been impacted, if that happens, that anybody impacted by the recordation of the map in the interim, in the temporary period, doesn't have a claim, because they do. Because many people's lives and property interests have been totally disrupted by the recordation of that map, and there will be claims that they are likely to have. Bottom line is, I think a lot of this will come to a head first, beginning with the decision in the Kirby case by the Supreme Court. All affected property owners should look out, watch the newspaper for a decision that comes in the Kirby case. Depending upon what that decision is, any affected property owner should consult with an attorney. What does this mean for me? And then next, follow the political wheels in this election, in the legislature, as to what the legislature's reaction will be, and whether that means that the Hampstead Bypass project, as I predict it will be, won't be funded. In the next 90, 120 days, we'll certainly know more than we know right now.